Hi, my name is Branson Parler. I am Professor of Theological Studies at Kuyper College in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about the future of theological education. In particular, thinking about some steps that your church can take to make sure that leaders are educated well, and thinking about how we can move forward as we think about this process of educating and training leaders. The first step that I want you to think about taking is understanding the difference between learning and schooling. Learning and schooling. So part of what I think churches need to see is that we need a change of mindset. That oftentimes when we think about learning, we think about it in the context of an educational system, specifically within a school, a K through 12 school, a college, or a seminary. And so there's a tendency to see learning as happening only in school contexts. But part of what we have to do is to begin to see our churches as themselves being key learning contexts for training up the next generation of leaders. And so that we are not just dependent on Christian schools or Christian colleges or seminaries, but that we start to ourselves cultivate pathways of learning and growth for leaders. In Scripture, when Jesus calls his disciples, the term that's used there in Greek, mathetes, actually refers to somebody who's a student, who's apprentice, who comes alongside the rabbi, the teacher, and lives with him, walks with him, sees his life and ministry. And so we have to have a shift in mindset so that we think about ourselves as places of learning. A second related step is taking ownership of discipleship. And here I'm thinking specifically of individuals who have been identified in your church context as leaders, and maybe they're even getting training at a Christian college or a seminary. I want to emphasize, I teach at a Christian college. There's lots of good things that are happening in an educational context. But trusting a college or a seminary to do the work of discipleship is not enough. Colleges and seminaries do great things, but they cannot do the kind of holistic life training and leadership training that needs to happen. And so recognize the good that's happening in somebody's schooling context, but also think about what do they need to know, or what do they need to be equipped with in terms of applying that knowledge in their local church context. I think about what Paul says about knowledge, that knowledge without love puffs up. And so there is a danger that as we accumulate knowledge, as we acquire knowledge, especially in these kind of intensive educational environments, that we maybe don't always cultivate a spirit of love, of care, and understand really how to bring that down and how to apply that in a ministry context. And so as church leaders, it's really important that we are intentionally cultivating this whole life discipleship for those who are in these contexts of educational institutions. The third thing that I would encourage you to think about is the need to form partnerships. So this could be with other like-minded churches who have a similar philosophy of ministry or a vision for ministry that you're working with. It could be with other institutions. And here I want to talk for just a minute about Kuyper College's Master of Ministry program. This is a program that is a 2-year degree that emphasizes the integration of what you're getting in a classroom setting and what you're getting in your specific church context. That we actually think real-time application of what you're learning is going to maximize your ability to grow. And so this is a program that actually encourages you to be involved in a ministry context while you're taking classes so that you are intentionally learning what it means to apply and really put wheels on what you're learning as you're learning that. As we do this, part of what we're saying is that two communities, the church and the educational institution, are essential for learning, are essential for growth and development, that one of those apart from the other is not going to be enough, but that it does take these kind of partnerships where we're working together to grow. And maybe you're watching this and thinking, I've already got a master's degree, I'm not really interested in that. One of the other things that we're offering is continuing education opportunities in areas like finance and budgeting, in areas like the use of social media in ministry contexts. And these are offered as standalone continuing education opportunities for people who are in ministry, but who really want to take the next step in terms of understanding and applying some of these things better to their specific context. And so as you move forward, I would continue to ask you to think about these things. How is our church cultivating ourselves as a learning community? What does it mean for us to take ownership of discipleship, especially for folks in our midst who are seeking schooling? And who are relevant people that we need to partner with as we seek to raise up the next generation of leaders? Thanks.